Right now on Upfront.
Central count fallout.
What's important is that we're transparent, that the results are secure.
Delayed primary results in Milwaukee.
This is a human error in which the wrong button was pressed.
Now this weekend calls for investigations.
We need to see what's happening.
This Sunday, the latest on what happened.
No, there won't be a firing. This is an opportunity for training.
Republican State Representative Scott Krug as some state lawmakers demand answers. And now the head of Milwaukee's Election Commission, Paulina Gutierrez, is here to respond.
Fake poll. The bizarre walkback involving the Democratic primary for governor and the new Marquette, Wisconsin poll just days from release. Marquette's first look at the David Crowley-Tom Tiffany matchup. Charles Franklin standing by with it all. And following Francesca Hong's loss, the warning from Democratic socialists to David Crowley.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Intense scrutiny yet again targeting the city of Milwaukee and its central count location following the August primary.
Local election officials blaming human error for delaying results. Now state lawmakers are demanding answers. The chair of the Assembly Elections Committee in this letter Friday demanding answers within 30 days. And now the head of Milwaukee's Election Commission is here to respond to it all in her first interview. And I'm assuming our crew and folks are now headed back to the central count location.
We were live on the air all night as the problems played out in real time.
And I think we all should just take note that these things happen, and at the end of the day, what's important is that we're transparent, that the results are secure, and that we're open and honest.
Milwaukee County and city election officials with a stunning announcement late in the night, forcing them to return to Milwaukee's central count location. The problem captured by our cameras, the audit logs loaded onto numerous flash drives instead of the absentee ballot results. Exporting audit log, clearly visible on the screen, the result election officials say was human error.
And as I mentioned before, unfortunately, the wrong button was pressed and the audit log was downloaded, not the results. And so when we discovered that was when we took it to the county and they could not upload. We had 4 successfully upload, but 5 were not. And what it was that audit log, not the results. So we came back following the exact same procedure that we've done in the past, and you can see that the numbers and time is different. It's exactly the same. Because all of this evidence is here. We have all of the paper ballots. We have the poll books. We have multiple layers, right? This is a human error in which the wrong button was pressed.
The fallout, though, swift.
I do not understand why theoretically a wrong button was pushed. That's one of the reasons that we have, I'm calling for an investigation on that. Why did that happen?
Bob Spindell, a Republican and member of the bipartisan Wisconsin Election Commission.
We've had 2 investigations. In Madison, 250 votes were in the bottom of some tub. In Green Bay, some lady sent out 250 extra ballots twice. To me, this is much more serious than those, and we've had major investigations for both Green Bay and Madison. And I think we need to have once and for all to satisfy the people of Wisconsin and certainly the Republicans, which I'm also responsible for representing, that we see that everything is square there.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
So I know like a lot of people have said, hey, is there going to be some sort of repercussion? Is somebody going to be fired over this, over a human error or a mistake? No, I don't. No, there won't be a firing. This is an opportunity for training. It's an opportunity for us to approach this in a different way. But I don't think that a human error, a mistake, which, by the way, our election workers, they work, probably some of them probably 20 hours that day. It was late at night. I don't think it rises to that level.
With that, let's bring in Republican State Representative Scott Krug, the Assembly Assistant Majority Leader and Vice Chair of the Elections Committee. State Representative, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Hey, always happy to spend time with you guys.
So we just heard from the mayor say that no one is going to be fired over this. He called this an opportunity for training. Is this how you see it?
That's where I started, right, is I wanted everybody to give an opportunity for everybody to talk about the deficiencies that we're seeing in one location on every major election in the state. So I think, that's the point, is I want to know that we're ready for November. So if it takes more training, more input from stakeholders to say, okay, this is how we could do things better, that's great, but I still need to see some accountability and less incompetence when it comes to trying to expand options for, say, Monday process and other things. Like, we just cannot do that if we're not training people appropriately.
Beyond that, would you like to see, are you calling for a legislative hearing into what happened on election night?
I think the pressure we put out to folks statewide after the election, where it wasn't just Milwaukee issues, right? There was Greene County had an issue. The Ariana Vagley and Greene has been great about talking about how they're going to try something different than they did this time. We saw issues in Fond du Lac with some reporting. Winnebago had server issues. So it's not just Milwaukee, but I think the challenge right now is I would like our committee to hear more from Central Count in Milwaukee, from the county office on reporting issues. If they can give us some more information, who, what, when, where, how, why, and how, and what's going to be better, great. If they're not going to be more forthcoming directly with us, then yes, we should have a hearing and let people know that you're not going to have to wonder what's going to happen in November.
You referenced the Monday processing bill, and you've been a big supporter allowing municipalities to start that process on Monday. Do errors like this make this more difficult to pass the legislature?
It does. That's exactly what my challenge was after the primary election night, was the struggles that continue with personnel and process at Central Count in Milwaukee lead more people in the legislature to question the need for Central Count versus trying to implement procedures like Monday process, right? So if you don't have the right people, the right personnel, you could screw up on Monday, you could screw up on Tuesday, sometimes they're screwing up on Wednesday. A new process isn't necessarily going to work until we have the training down pat and we know exactly who's going to do what, who's responsible for it, what the accountability is. I think they go hand in hand.
There are dozens of municipalities that use Central Count across the state of Wisconsin. Does this Central Count model, does it still work, do you think?
That is something we have to talk about when it comes back to the legislature in January. Is I know that there are a lot of communities that like to use it. I know it seems to be easier for some communities to use it. But if we don't keep the idea that one Central Count facility is ruining for everybody out of the forefront, that's going to be a struggle in the legislature, is to stop the movement to get rid of Central Count.
A lot of conversations still to be had in the days and weeks and months to come. Representative Scott Krug, the Assembly Elections Committee and Assistant Majority Leader, thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Paulina Gutierrez is the Milwaukee Election Commission Executive Director. She joins us now. Paulina, good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We just heard from Representative Krug. Lawmakers say they want to look into this. Bob Spindell on the Elections Commission has said he wants the commission to look in this. The Common Council is requesting your testimony. I guess just first, will you comply and will you participate in any and all investigations or hearings or whatever lawmakers may want to do on this?
Yeah, voter confidence is important to us, and we would welcome any investigation.
At any level, from
Correct.
The Common Council all the way up to state lawmakers?
Yes, we are expecting to testify in front of Common Council, I think, sometime in September.
Let's talk about what happened.
Yeah, I want to ask about what happened on election night. We saw the shot where it clearly said exporting audit logs on the screen. So how did this happen, not just once, but 5 times, downloading the audit log versus the results?
Well, the most important thing that I want voters to understand is that this had absolutely no impact on the accuracy of the election results. It had an impact on when those results were posted. Our teams are trained. They had the written instructions with them. They had done it before, and unfortunately the mistake still happened. I can't get into someone's head, but what I know is that we're learning from this mistake and making enhancements so that it doesn't happen again.
Do you understand why, or can you see how voters can see why this process, they don't have faith in the process when something like this happens? Do you understand the concerns that voters have when they see this happen?
Absolutely, that's a great question. Up until that point, the election was running smoothly. I was very pleased with the team, and I can understand the frustration and disappointment. I, too, am frustrated and disappointed by the process. But with every step that we take, we get better. And the training was there, and at no point was the accuracy of the results threatened. It was just about when those results were posted. And like what we're doing now moving forward is putting visual images onto the instructions. We're doing briefings beforehand, reviewing it one more time, and we're also providing the page-by-page process to observers so they can follow along as well.
Bob Spindell, a Republican member on the Wisconsin Elections Commission, says that you've not been transparent enough through this process. How do you respond to that?
We are transparent. We've been transparent throughout the entire process. As soon as we discovered the error, we conveyed those results immediately to the county. We allowed press inside of the building. We provided the reports that were originally printed and allowed people to see the new reports and saw that The results were absolutely the same. At no point was the accuracy of results threatened. We had the Milwaukee Police Department stationed in front of Central Count, so no unauthorized individuals could come to that location. And upon immediately discovering the error, we went out to the public to let them know.
Back to Jaron's question for a second. Was this a scenario where the mistake was made 5 separate times since there were 5 flash drives?
That is my understanding. I can't get into someone's head about what happened, but that was how the mistake occurred.
We heard the mayor say this past week that no one is going to be fired from this, and he called this an opportunity for training. You kind of walked through some of this, but can you double down on what changes now are in place from this election to what we're going to see in November, which will be an incredibly high-profile election?
Of course, yes. So we have had these written procedures since 2024. They were approved by our Board of Election Commissioners. We're enhancing those procedures to have actual screenshots of the screen. Like I said, we're going to do briefings before with each team. We will provide a demonstration of it at our public testing so that everyone can see how it works. We're going to do a point and call verification so that as each step is being completed, someone's verbalizing what is happening.
How much training does a poll worker go through before an election night?
So poll workers, which are different than our download team, go through a minimum of 3 to 6 hours of training per election.
Okay.
So we actually have enhanced our training over the years, but our download team is with full-time staff at Board of Election Commissioners. It's bipartisan. We ensure we bring in a party-nominated election worker as well. So these are experienced members. Unfortunately, I can't get inside of someone's head. It was a human error. And like I said, the human error did not impact the accuracy of the results. And we get better, we make improvements, and we'll be very upfront and transparent about how we make those improvements.
The mayor said no one is going to be fired. Can you discuss whether there's any punishment or any recourse for the person who did this and who this person was?
At the end of the day, the buck stops with me as the executive director. And so my job is to make sure that people are ready. I'm not going to discuss personnel matters, but what matters is that we get better and we learn from this issue.
Unfortunately, not the first issue we've seen on election night at Central Count. Is it time for Central Count to go away?
So every instance is a different parameter. At the end of the day, in all those instances, there was not an impact to the accuracy of the results. Getting rid of Central Count would require a significant amount of resources and planning, and that would also require that hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of absentee ballots for 15 hours are transported throughout the city, and these are uncounted ballots. And in my opinion, that is not a secure method for managing absentee ballot counting.
To critics and skeptics and even just average voters out there who say, here it is, once again, a problem at Milwaukee's Central Count, you tell them what ahead of November?
I think at the end of the day, we take an oath to protect the state and federal constitution. We have hundreds of poll workers that take this seriously. They are our neighbors. They care deeply about Milwaukee. We administer elections transparently and fairly and securely. We will be ready. We have the resources and support for the mayor's administration and the Common Council. And so we do what we can to always learn, to always be transparent, and to provide the resources that our staff need so that they are successful.
Paulina Gutierrez, the Executive Director of the Milwaukee Election Commission, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Up next, the fake poll and the new real Wisconsin poll set to be released. Charles Franklin is standing by with it all next.